So let's break it down. Let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about the cost of attendance. So if you were to Google anything about a school that you're interested in and you just put tuition leaves out so much, right? Fees. Fees are really hefty when it comes to college campuses. Sometimes they're lab fees, sometimes they're student fees, there are technology fees. And there's also other fees as well. So the fees are something you want to put in there because those can be thousands of dollars. And then there's also room and board. So we're going to break down the cost of attendance as being equal to two things: direct cost and indirect cost. So direct costs are costs billed directly to you, and these are going to be on your bill. So when we go to the second to last lesson, swipe right for the school that you like, I'm going to teach you how to break down your bill. You don't need to know that now, but just know once you get accepted to a school, they're going to send you a bill. And the costs that are going to be billed directly to you are going to be tuition, fees, housing, if applicable, and the meal plan, if applicable, right? A lot of times, just so you know, if you live on campus housing, you have to get a meal plan. Even if it's the cheapest one. Every time I've been a student or I've worked at a university, you have 100%, unless you have a kitchen in your dorm, you need to get the meal plan. They need to make sure that you're eating, right? Because they're now responsible for you. So a lot of times the caveat or the exception is when you have a kitchen in your dorm, but most first year students don't. So a lot of times you have to get the meal plan. So if you're basing your school decision financially on the sole idea that I don't want the meal plan, I can save, $20,000 on the meal plan. Understand that a lot of times that's not possible if you're choosing to live on campus. Okay, so just so you know, just so we're putting it out there. Then there are the indirect costs. So these are your costs impacting your ability to study, not included in the financial aid package. So what do I mean by it's impacting your ability to study, to be a student, right? If you don't have the books can cost you anywhere between $600 and $1,000 per semester. So that's around $1,200 and $2,000 per year. Now that you can rent books, it might be a little bit cheaper, but I would still say you should have saved around $700 per year just for books, right? Because sometimes books are workbooks and you can't always buy them used, you can't always borrow them, you can't always rent them. So again, and I also know that students borrowing books are really, really good, but you do want to be careful. You want to make sure you have your own textbook so that way you can get the information and study when you can versus borrowing and that sort of thing. So what about transportation? If you're going to school across the country, you need to get there. So what is that cost like? When the dorms close, dorms will normally close for fall break, winter break, spring break, summer break. A lot of times you have to leave campus. They might not have an opportunity, so you have to think about that flight 4 times. Sometimes you can go home with a friend and that sort of thing is absolutely true. But again, if you can't afford to get to campus, that's going to impact your ability to be a student. What about health insurance? A lot of times schools will require you to have health insurance. They don't add that in the direct cost, but they will bill you for it or they'll require you to have it if you want to study abroad. And then there's personal expenses, right? Like hair, maybe you want to get your hair cut or you want to get a pedicure or you need to get your eyebrows done. You want to keep your cell phone bill on. You want to have that particular app like Spotify or Apple Music, whatever it is that you have. I don't know. If you like to go out to eat, you love Starbucks, right? Whatever it is, those are personal expenses that do add up. If you think about getting Starbucks every day, $5 a day, go ahead and do the math. What will that look like for you? And so just want to keep that, kind of at the forefront of your mind. And then if you're an international student listening to this as well, you have to think about passport, testing, vaccines, travel budget for breaks. So you just want to make sure that when we look at the cost of attendance, that we're thinking about both direct and indirect cost. You can actually Google the cost of attendance at blank University XYZ, and they'll actually tell you both of these things. But if you just Google tuition, go ahead and look at the difference in the cost. You will assume, this is something I can afford versus the actual information that you need, which is you have to understand that you want to know the direct and indirect costs of a university.